All right, let's get started. Okay, so today we're going to start our lesson with a little review about what we've been talking about over the last couple of weeks in school, or maybe even summer since it's summer break. Okay, so we're going to start our lesson today by talking about adjectives. Can you tell me, what do you know about adjectives, Piper?
It's like something to describe something.
Something
So,
what?
To describe something.
Something that describes
So
something.
it
Good.
describes like a cup.
Okay.
It's a like that cup, right?
Okay.
Yeah, that.
This cup. Okay,
And
perfect.
so it would be like
What would we use to describe this cup?
it has rainbow stripes.
Rainbow stripes.
It's plastic
It's plastic.
and it's like a clear color. That way, if there's a rainbow,
Mm-hmm.
if there's like some spots, that way it doesn't have to be like rainbow and like miss and stuff.
Perfect. Okay. Kylie, what do you know about adjectives?
What I know is that it describes a noun. Like, so say you wanted to describe, I don't know, this.
What if we described this pencil case right here?
It is sparkly.
Sparkly.
It can hold things.
Okay. Is it rough or is it smooth?
Super smooth.
It's really smooth. So if we feel it, we know that it's smooth. Okay. Is it big or small?
I don't know. Maybe medium.
We could even say average size.
Average size.
Okay, yeah. So this is an average size. So those are adjectives that we could use to describe something. So why are adjectives important if you are maybe writing a story?
You can explain something though. If you said my dog.
So let's use so let's use our dog for example. So if we wrote a story about our dog and we just kept saying my dog, my dog, my dog, would anybody know what our dog actually looked like? No. So if we wrote a story about our dog, what would we say about your dog?
You could say he's white.
He's white, so now we know what color he is. Okay?
He's fluffy.
He's fluffy.
He's super
He's
soft.
soft.
He's soft. So now we know
He's
that we have
playful.
a white, fluffy, soft dog. Maybe we should tell about the size.
He's,
Is he huge
No.
or is he tiny?
He's tiny.
He's saying, so now you have a picture of what the dog looks like and we got that picture by using adjectives. We know that we use adjectives to describe our dog, and our dog is a small, white, fluffy, playful puppy. And so those are adjectives. So we already know that because we have already been talking about adjectives a lot this summer and school year. So we already know all about adjectives. So we know that if we were writing a story that we would want to use lots and lots and lots of adjectives all throughout our story so we could get a good picture. So that when we use adjectives in writing, they bring your writing to life. That way you know, you get a better picture. If you just wrote my dog, you'd be like, oh, I have no idea what that dog looks like. But you said my white, soft, fluffy dog, then you know exactly what he looks like. Okay? So we are going to start with a fun activity. We are going to use our adjectives that we just talked about we are going to use our graphic organizer here, our Lima Bean activity graphic organizer. So you girls are going to get a small plate of lima beans. Lima beans? Why are we talking about lima beans?
It's a bad case of string.
Because after we talk about our lima beans, we're going to read our book about, and I have a feeling they're talking about lima beans in this book, but I don't really know too much about lima beans, except I always hear that people don't like them, but I think they get kind of a bad rap because who knows? Maybe let's try them. Okay, so let's try some lima beans. So I'm going to give you each a small scoop of lima beans on this plate. Ew. Okay. Ooh, yum. Okay, so let's take a look at these lima beans. I'll put this lid back on because I can already think of an adjective to describe these lima beans. Okay, so I made an example on my graphic organizer here, and it says, let's use our adjectives to describe the lima beans. we're going to think about what do they taste like, what do they smell like, how do they feel, and what do they look like. So we have to use all of our senses to figure out the adjectives that are going to be used to describe these lima beans. So you can choose a color. Sure. Perfect. Okay, so let's decide what do we want to start. Take a look. Just you can touch your lima beans, hold your lima beans. What do they feel like?
They feel greasy.
They feel greasy. Okay, so maybe on one of your bubbles here, you could write that they feel. Kylie said they feel greasy. What do you think they feel like?
They feel like smooth and like wet.
They feel smooth and wet. They do. Let's get our paper towels here. Okay, so they feel smooth.
They feel like greasy.
You just can sound it.
They write lima beans.
Yeah. You can write how they can sound it out and do your best spelling. Okay. So you think they smell greasy, they feel greasy. Okay, so let's write lima beans in the middle first. That way we remember here what we're talking about. It's okay, you can just sneak a little A in there. Perfect. Lima bean. Okay? Perfect. Okay, so you could write how they... Ooh, how do they smell? I can already think I know how they smell.
They just smell like beans.
They kind of smell beany, yeah.
They smell like beans.
They have a bean type of smell.
And they have like a gross smell.
I think they smell gross.
Yeah.
I think I might say that they're gross. They have a kind of a gross smell to them. Good job. Okay, so they're wet and they... Okay, they feel wet, okay? And they smell gross. Good job. Let's describe what they look like next. What do these lima beans look like?
They look like green beans, kind of.
They're green. Okay, so they're definitely green. Are they dark green? Are they light green?
Light green.
Yeah,
lightish.
they're pretty lightish green. Okay, so maybe we could even use our adjectives to describe what color green they are. Okay, so what color green are these lima beans?
I think it's like a pale.
Pale green. Okay, pale green. Sure, perfect. Pale. Could you sound it out? Good job. Very good. Okay, so they're kind of a pale green. All right. Here's the best part. What do they taste like? Okay. Are they gross? You don't have to swallow it if you don't want. You could spit it into your... Yeah, you don't have to eat it. You have your little water cup, so you can... Okay, so we know that we are not a fan of how the lima beans taste. I don't blame you. We're going to put these back in our
I thought
bowl.
they like taste more like beans. They're all like...
They're not my favorite either.
No.
But you were both very brave for trying them. You both just took a big bite. I'm impressed. Okay, so how do our lima beans taste?
They taste disgusting.
Disgusting. Okay. Do they taste sweet?
No.
Do they taste bitter?
Yes.
Kind of bitter?
Yes.
Okay. They taste disgusting.
It's true, they do.
Yeah, that's kind of fair. I agree that I think lima beans do taste disgusting. Yeah, I'm not a huge fan. But is there a way you could describe what kind of disgusting, though? Do they taste, what did you say? They taste disgusting, but do they taste disgusting because they're too sweet?
They taste disgusting
Because they're too bitter.
They're too bitter. Okay, that's fair. They are pretty bitter. I'm going to make sure the volume's up on this. Yes, they're definitely bitter.
Yeah.
Okay, so now that we have a pretty good idea, what did you add, Piper?
They taste disgusting because they're bitter.
Oh, okay, perfect. Okay. So we know that they feel, how do they feel?
They feel greasy.
How do they feel?
They feel wet.
Okay. What do they smell like?
They smell gross.
They smell gross.
I think they smell like beans.
They smell beany. Okay. What do they look like?
Pale green.
They're pale green.
I like
Yep.
pale green.
And how do they taste?
Taste disgusting because
They're
they're
not.
bitter.
Because they are
They
bitter.
taste disgusting because they're too bitter.
Okay, so that we know that we're not fans of lima beans. So now we have a really good of what the lima beans, we use what lima beans look like, feel, smell, and taste. So those are adjectives to describe our lima beans. So another type of thing we're going to talk about is our character traits. So we described what our lima beans looked like on the outside. And so character traits are really of a person. So a lima bean really would have a hard time being have a character trait because they're not a person in a story. They're not a character in the story. So character traits are adjectives that are used to describe what a character or a person is like on the inside. So what their personality is like. So sometimes we have to look at a character and decide what their character traits might be like. So if we use our adjectives, so our words to describe what this character looks like on the outside, what does she look like on the outside?
She looks really nervous.
She does, but let's describe her, what she actually looks like. What color hair does she have?
Oh, she has black hair.
She has black hair. Okay.
She has rainbow stripes.
She has rainbow stripes. We're saying she, is this character a boy or is it a girl?
She's a girl.
It's a girl. Okay.
She has a pink bow.
She has a pink bow. What color eyes does she have?
Green.
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 Okay. So those are all words to describe what this person looks like on the outside. So now we're going to infer, which means that we're going to think about what does this character maybe look like or feel like. What are some character traits on the inside of this character? Let's take a closer look of her. Okay. So what does she look like? What are some character traits you might think of?
She looks kind of like nervous.
She looks nervous. Okay.
I think she's like scared of what's gonna happen.
Yeah, definitely scared of what's going to happen. Does she look healthy?
No.
No.
I think she ate too much like lima beans.
You think she maybe ate too many lima beans? I'd probably feel like this if I ate too many lima beans too. What is something that by looking at this character, how can you maybe tell that she does not feel healthy?
Because she has a thermometer.
She has a thermometer in her mouth. So normally if you're healthy, you probably wouldn't have a thermometer in your mouth, right? So you inferred that she's probably sick. She's definitely not well. Also, she has stripes.
Yes.
So those are some character traits that we can think about by looking at this character. Okay, so now that we have talked about our lima beans, we talked about our adjectives and our character traits of this character. Let's talk a little bit more about, let's find out why is she covered in stripes and why in the world did I make you eat some lima beans? Okay, let's find out. Okay. Camilla Cream loved lima beans. Just like you girls loved lima beans, but she never ate them. All of her friends hated lima beans, and she wanted to fit in. Camilla was always worried about what other people thought of her. Today she was fretting even more than usual. It was the first day of school, and she couldn't decide what to wear. There were so many people to impress. She tried on 42 outfits, and none of them seemed quite right. She put on a perfect, pretty red dress and looked in the mirror. Then she screamed. Her mother ran into the room and she screamed too. "Oh my heavens," she cried, "you are completely covered with stripes." That was certainly true. Camilla was striped from head to toe. She looked like a rainbow. Miss Cream felt Camilla's forehead. "Do you feel all right?" she asked. "Well, I feel fine," Camilla answered. "But just look at me." "You get back in bed this instant," her mother ordered. "You're not going to school today." Camilla was relieved. She didn't want to miss the first day of school, but she was afraid what the other kids would say, and she had no idea what to wear with all of those crazy stripes. That afternoon, Dr. Bumble came to examine Camilla. "Most extraordinary," he exclaimed. "I've never seen anything like it. Are you having any coughing, sneezing, runny nose, aches, pains, chills, hot flashes, dizziness, drowsiness, shortness of breath, or uncontrollable twitching?" "No," Camilla told him. "I feel fine." "Oh, well then," Dr. Bumble said, turning to Miss Cream, "I don't see any reason why she shouldn't go to school tomorrow. Here's some ointment, and that should clear up those stripes in a few days, and if it doesn't, well, you know where to reach me." And off he went. Was he very helpful?
No.
No, not really, huh? Oh my. The next day was a disaster. Everyone at school laughed at Camilla. They called her Camilla Crayon and Night of the Living Lollipop. She tried her best to act as if everything were normal, but when the class said the Pledge of Allegiance, her stripes turned red, then white, and blue, and she broke out in stars. She's covered like an American flag. Oh, goodness. The other kids thought this was great. One yelled out, "Let's see some purple polka dots," and sure enough, Camilla turned purple polka dotty. Someone else shouted, "Checkerboard," and a pattern of squares covered her skin. Soon, everyone was calling out shapes and colors, and poor Camilla was changing faster than you can change channels on a TV. Can someone tell me what are some adjectives that were used on this page to describe how Camilla was looking?
She was looking super. She has a lot of things
They said the words They said purple polka dots. You can think very quickly and easily what her polka dots looked like, right?
Yes.
And then someone said checkerboard, and a pattern of squares covered her skin. So there's a lot of adjectives on this page describing exactly what Camilla looked like. That night, Mr. Harms, the school principal, called. "I'm sorry, Mrs. Cream," he said. "I'm going to ask you to keep Camilla home from school. She is just too much of a distraction, and I've been getting calls from other parents. They're afraid that those stripes may be contagious." Camilla was so embarrassed. She couldn't believe that 2 days ago everyone liked her, and now no one wanted to be in the same room with her. Her father tried to make her feel better. "Is there anything I can get you, sweetheart?" he asked. "No, thank you," Camilla sighed. What she really wanted was a nice plate of lima beans. But she had been laughed at enough for one day. Oh, would anybody in here want a plate of lima beans?
No, thank you.
If I was feeling ill, I don't think that would be anything that I would want. Well, yes, I see, Dr. Bumble mumbled when Mrs. Cream phoned the next day. "I think I'd better bring in the specialist. Well, we'll be all right over." In about an hour, Dr. Bumble arrived with 4 people in long white coats. He introduced them to the Creams. "This is Dr. Grope, Dr. Sponge, Dr. Cricket, and Dr. Young." Then the specialist went to work on Camilla. They squeezed and jabbed and tapped and tested. It was very uncomfortable. Well, it's not the mumps, concluded Dr. Grope. It's not the measles, said Dr. Sponge. Oh, definitely not chickenpox, put in Dr. Cricket. Or a sunburn, said Dr. Young. Try these, said the specialist, and they each handed her a bottle filled with different colored pills. Take one of each before bed, said Dr. Grope, and then they all filed out the front door, followed by Dr. Grumble. She is covered. That night, Camilla took her medicine. It was awful. When she woke up the next morning, she didn't feel any different. But when she got dressed, her clothes didn't fit right. She looked in the mirror, and there, staring back at her, was a giant, multicolored pill with her face on it. Oh my goodness. She's all round. Dr. Bumble rushed over as soon as Mrs. Cream called, but this time instead of the specials, he brought experts. Dr. Cord, Mr. Mellon, and the finest scientific minds in all the land. Once again, Camilla was poked and prodded and looked at and listened to. The experts wrote down lots of numbers and then huddled together and whispered. Dr. Good finally spoke. I think it might be a virus, he announced with authority. Then, suddenly, fuzzy little virus balls appeared all around Camilla. Or possibly some form of bacteria, said Mr. Mellon, and out popped squiggly little bacteria trails. Yuck. Or it could be a fungus, added Dr. Gord. And instantly Camilla was covered in different colored fungus splotches. The experts looked at Camilla and at each other. We need to go over these numbers again. Back at the lab, Dr. Gord explained. We'll call you when we know something. But the experts didn't have a clue. Much less even a cure. What a mess. These are, I don't even see Camilla on this page. She's just covered. Oh boy. By now, the TV news had found out about Camilla. Reporters from every channel were outside her house telling the story of the bizarre case of the incredible changing kid. Soon, a huge crowd was camped out on the front lawn. Look at all of those people. Jeez, what do you think Camilla's feeling right now?
Why is everybody in my life?
So you think she feels confused? What do you think she feels?
She's like, why are these like new people here? What am I doing?
Do you think she's? Do you think she's nervous?
Oh yeah.
Would you be nervous?
Yes.
Do you think she's scared?
Yeah.
What do you think she's scared about?
She's scared that she has a bunch of people and she's changing different colors.
Yes, that her body's changing.
She's probably scared of what's going to happen.
Exactly. She's probably feeling a lot of emotions. The creams were swamped with all kinds of remedies from psychologists, allergists, herbalists, nutritionists, psychics, and an old medicine man, a guru, and even a veterinarian. Each so-called cure only added to poor Camilla's strange appearance until it was hard to even recognize her. She sprouted roots and berries and crystals and feathers and a long furry tail, but nothing worked. Look at her tail. What kind of tail does that look? It does kind of look like a cat tail. Striped. One day, a woman who called herself an environmental therapist claimed she could cure Camilla. Close your eyes, she said. Breathe deeply and become one with your room. I wish you hadn't said that, Camilla groaned. Slowly, she started to melt into the walls of her room. Her bed became her mouth. Her nose was a dresser, and 2 paintings were her eyes. The therapist screamed and ran out of the house. What are we going to do? Cried Mrs. Cream. It just keeps getting worse and worse. She began to sob. How do you think Mrs. Cream is feeling?
She's probably like, what's happening to my daughter? She's probably like nervous about her.
Well,
Probably like sad.
why do you think she's sad?
Because she's in the walls.
Yes, but what did they tell you in the story? She began to what?
Began to sob.
Sob. Do you sob when you're sad?
Yes.
Yeah. At that moment, Mr. Cream heard a quiet little knock on the front door. He opened it, and there stood an old woman who was just as plump and sweet as a strawberry. Excuse me, she said brightly, but I think I can help. She looks very sweet. She was sweet as a strawberry. What can you tell me about this lady that came to the door?
She has rosy cheeks.
She has rosy cheeks.
And it's sweet as strawberry. Her it's red.
She's wearing a red shirt.
And a flower.
Is she an older lady or is she young? She's elderly. She kind of looks like a little grandma.
Yeah.
Okay. She went into Camilla's room and looked around. My goodness, she said with a shake of her head. What we have here is a bad case of stripes. One of the worst I've seen. She pulled a container of small green beans from her bag. Here, she said, these might do the trick. Are those magic beans? Asked Mrs. Cream. Oh my, no, replied the old woman. There's no such thing. These are just plain old lima beans. I bet you'd like some, wouldn't you? She asked Camilla. Camilla wanted a big, heaping plate full of lima beans, more than just about anything, but she was afraid to admit it. Yuck! No one likes lima beans, especially me. Oh dear, said the old woman sadly. I guess I was wrong about you. She put the beans back in her bag and started towards the door. Camilla watched the old woman walk away. Those beans would taste so good, she thought. And being laughed at for eating them was just nothing compared to what she had been going through. She couldn't stand it. Wait, she cried. The truth is, I really love lima beans. I thought so, the old woman said with a smile. She took a handful of beans and popped them into Camilla's mouth. Mmm, said Camilla. Look at her mouth. What is her mouth in this picture? It's her bed.
She's being it to her bed.
And that's her mouth. Would you like who would like a mouthful of lima beans? Okay, no one here still. Okay. Suddenly, the branches and feathers and squiggly tails began to disappear. The whole room swirled around. When it stopped, there stood Camilla, and everything was back to normal. I'm cured, she shouted. Yes, said the old woman. I knew the real you was in there somewhere. She patted Camilla on the head, and she went outside and vanished into the crowd. How do you think Camilla is feeling now?
Happy, really happy.
Why do you think she feels happy now?
She has a huge smile.
She has a huge smile. What about her arms tell you something that she's happy? Do you think she feels really happy like that? I think so too. She's standing big and tall. Yes. Afterward, Camilla wasn't quite the same. Some of the kids at school said she was weird, but she didn't care a bit. She ate all the lima beans she wanted, and she never even had a touch of the stripes again.
It looks like lima beans disappeared.
Yeah, they did. Okay, so the next thing we're going to talk about is, so the lima beans seemed to cure her. They were kind of like the magic bean there.
Yes.
So now let's talk about Camilla's characters. Let's get something to write with. What did Camilla look like on the outside in this story?
She had stripes.
She had stripes. Okay, let's talk a little bit, because so these are some adjectives to describe what she looked like on the outside. So her appearance is different from her character traits. So first, let's talk about her appearance. What did she look like?
She had black hair.
Okay, so she had black hair, so we could write that. Did her hair ever change, though?
No.
No, it didn't change? Okay, so she had black hair. So this is the appearance side. So we're going to write on this side where it says appearance on our graphic organizer. So this is the appearance, what she looks like on the outside. And the character traits, what does she look like on the inside? So we're going to use this column for now.
Outside.
So appearance. Okay. She had black hair. Okay, what else?
She stripe.
Oh, okay. She had rainbow stripes. Okay, good. She had black hair and she had rainbow stripes. Definitely. Yep, you can use a comma. Good, she had rainbow stripes.
She
Let's let Piper share. Good job.
she was covered in stripes.
She was covered in stripes. Yes, so she was covered in the rainbow stripes. What it was her appearance changed? What else? Did she change into a lot of different patterns?
Yeah, she changed, like when people were calling out names, she changed them.
Yes, so maybe she was multicolored. She had a lot of colors, right? So she had a lot of different type of looks.
She has a pink bow.
A pink bow, okay. Kylie said that she had a pink bow. It seemed like she kept the pink bow on most of the time.
Except the very end.
What was the difference of her bow at the end?
It was rainbow striped.
She was rainbow striped. Good job. All right, Piper, let's give us one more adjective to describe what did she look like on the outside.
She looked like she was sick.
Was that how she was feeling on the
Oh.
inside? Well, I guess you could say she does kind of look sickly on the outside. Okay, so she looks kind of sickly. Good. Okay, so now what about her character traits? What are some character traits of Camilla?
On the inside, she she didn't really like if people like say mean things. She
Okay.
didn't really care on the inside or outside.
She did care?
No, she did not.
Oh, she didn't care. So was she? So
She
well,
was kind of like she had like strong feelings.
oh, okay. So was she kind of brave?
Yes.
Okay, so she was brave. I agree. Good. There's an E at the end. E-R-A-V-E. Good.
She looks nervous.
She definitely looks nervous. Good job. All right, Piper, can you give us another character trait of Miss Camilla?
She looks afraid.
She looks afraid. Yes, definitely. Good. Okay. Kylie, can you tell us another?
She looks sick.
She definitely looks sick. Okay. Yes, definitely. All right, maybe one more from Piper.
She looks.
Go back and look at our book.
She looks nervous.
She does look nervous, and I think we might have already used nervous, and she definitely looks nervous a lot throughout this book. Let's see, what about in this page? What does her face tell you in this
She
page?
looks like she's like stopped and really like so she kind of like is afraid because everybody keeps calling for that. How is she changing?
Yes, she's definitely afraid on this page. Let's see, what about that? What is her face telling you there?
She's like, why? Like she's like, stop poking me. Stuff
Yes.
like that.
So maybe she looks like maybe she's kind of over all of these doctors poking her.
Yeah.
So maybe she's kind of tired. Does she look tired? Is that what you think?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
He's like tired of like this. Like,
Yeah, she's kind of tired of how they're poking her so much. And I think we talked about this at the end, but what is this last character trait that we can notice?
super happy. Super happy.
She looks very happy, doesn't she? Yes, she looks very happy. Perfect. So now we've really talked a lot about this character Camilla, but there are a whole classroom or library room full of people who are full of their own character traits. So I'm going to give you guys a couple of minutes to think about some character traits of your own. Now, what is the difference between your character traits and describing adjectives to describe your appearance?
Your character traits are something that describes you.
Right.
And your adjectives are like something that you look like.
Very good. So your character traits describe how you are on the inside, and your so we're not describing our appearance, right?
Yes.
Okay. So let's take a second and jot down a couple character traits of yourself.
Don't you write my name?
Yeah. So I'm going to write. So the character traits are these character traits that we said about Camilla, that she was brave, she was nervous, she was afraid, she was sick, she was tired, but at the end she was very happy. Okay, so Piper, can you share with us what is one character trait of yours? Kind. Piper is definitely kind, so you can write that as one of your character traits. Kylie, what is one of your character traits?
I am independent.
Oh, independent. Very good. Okay, so you don't need to draw any lines. You can just write. Okay, so let's see. I'm going to make my own. So what about a character trait of myself?
You're very sweet.
Very sweet. Okay, thank you. Would you try a different one?
Yeah.
Okay. Kylie, can you share a character trait of Piper?
She is, she's responsible.
Oh, she's responsible. Very good. Responsible. So this is a whole list of character traits that we would probably hang up in our classroom. But for now, we're just going to look at them on our table. But they can describe many different characters, not necessarily just Camilla. Okay, Piper, can you tell a character of Kylie?
She's really brave.
She is brave. She's definitely brave.
Thank you. I have another word for you.
Okay, when she's done writing, I would like to hear it. Okay.
You're independent.
Ooh, I am independent. Okay. Very good. Okay, let's write about 2 or 3 more about your own self right on your paper, and then I'm going to ask you to share it with us in just a minute. Okay? If you want to look at my list of character traits, you can do that also. Are you messy?
That was an accident.
That's okay, you can just kind of cross
Wait,
it out.
how many more?
Maybe like 2.
2 more?
Okay. Are you having trouble?
And I'm having a little bit of trouble.
Okay. You know what? It's okay if you can just, that's perfect.
Now go.
Okay. So Piper, can we talk about what is another, what's another character trait that you have? Responsible. What about, I see
Silly.
one. Oh, you are definitely silly. Good.
Trustworthy.
You are trustworthy for sure. Okay. Okay, so now that we have a few lists of our own character traits, so if someone is going to write a story about Kylie, what are the type of character traits? I'll just turn it into an R. Perfect. So if someone is going to write a story about Kylie, in the bad case of the stripes, hopefully this would never happen. What are the type of character traits that they would give you in your story? You can hold it up and show us. Let's let Kylie share first.
I would be maybe kind of brave.
Definitely brave.
I would be cooperative because I'd like those stripes to go
Yes,
away.
you would definitely be cooperative. Where are you? Come here.
I would still be friendly.
You would be friendly,
I
okay.
would get mad.
Even if it's not a story about the stripes, if someone was just going to make up a story about you, what type of character traits would they give you?
Okay.
So you would be brave.
Brave, independent, friendly, caring, confident, brave, independable, cooperative.
Very good. Okay, if we were going to write another story about Piper, what type of character traits would we give Piper?
Kind, responsible, funny, sweet, silly, and trustworthy.
Very good. Okay, so we're just about done with our lesson for today. Now, let's wrap up and talk about a little review of what we talked about. So first we started with adjectives. What are adjectives, Piper? What do they describe?
They describe, like, for example, we did the line reading. They describe,
Yes.
like, they are, like, greasy.
Right, kind of
They
the senses.
smell gross.
Right, so how they
taste-
touch.
They don't really taste so good.
Exactly. So those are kind of the adjectives that describe your senses, what they look like, what they taste like, what they feel like, what they smell like. But now, Kylie, what is the difference? What are character traits?
Character traits are something that, like, how you feel. Like
Exactly, on the inside. Okay, so these are all character traits. You can't really see this on the outside
No.
so much. Could you maybe be able to tell someone's character traits by the way that their face is?
No.
No.
Maybe some
What if somebody had an angry face like this? They were like,
means they're angry.
right. Or what if you
Camilla.
had yes, like we looked at Camilla, exactly. What if someone was smiling?
they'd be happy.
There, so you can kind of tell sometimes on the outside by what their face. Right, so her face was happy towards the end, but there are a lot of pages throughout this book where her face does not look so happy. Like this, where she's got someone poking her eye. Okay, so you guys did wonderful today. Thank you so much for coming to Miss Gorski's language arts class in the middle of the summer. I'm so happy that you could be here with us today.
Okay.
And you both did wonderful.
Thank you. Thank you.